Masons. So feel free to stand or sit as you desire when others do, unless specifically requested verbally by me or prayers and so forth. Deviating a little bit from our regular installation ceremony due to our particular social distance and COVID situation. So if you've attended installation before, you may see things a little different this year. There's these prescribed format from our Grand Lodge. So, my name is Kevin Hughes. I'll be the installing master this evening. I would like to introduce the other installing officers for tonight's ceremony. And if it's okay with you guys, since I am socially distanced from you, can I please take off my mask so you can hear me a little better? Yes. Thank you.
What'd you say?
Thank you. Someone remind me to put it back on when I leave here. I forgot the last time I did this. All right, so for this evening, our installing marshal will be Worshipful Doug Jessup. Our installing chaplain will be Worshipful Dick Stouffer. The rest of the officers to be installed for Active Lodge 158 for 2021. Dwayne Marshall as master. Your senior warden, Nick Durkin. Junior warden, Richard Reedy. Treasurer, Jason Huff. Secretary, Mike Schaefer. Chaplain, Wade Madden. Senior deacon, Kyle Booz. Junior deacon, Johan Derhun. Senior steward, Rod Creamer. Junior steward, Noah Nuff. Brother Marshall, please be seated. Brother Marshall, have you carefully examined the master-elect?
Worshipful Master, carefully examined and so fine.
You find him well skilled in the noble science and noble art?
I do.
Then you will present him at the altar for installation.
Worshipful Master, I present my worthy brother, Dwayne Marshall, being installed as master of this lodge. I find him to be of good morals and great skill, true and trusty, and is a lover of the fraternity. I doubt not that he will execute his duties with honor and with integrity.
My brother, previous to your investiture, it is necessary that you should signify your assent to those ancient charges and regulations which point out the duty of the master of the lodge. Do you agree to be a good man and true, and strictly to obey the moral law?
I do.
Do you agree to be a peaceable citizen and cheerfully to conform to the laws of the country in which you reside?
I do.
Do you promise not to be concerned in plots and conspiracies against the government, but patiently submit to the law and constituted authorities?
I do.
Do you agree to pay a proper respect to the civil magistrates, to work diligently, live creditably, and act honorably by all men?
I do.
Do you agree to hold in veneration the original rulers and patrons of the Order of Masonry and their regular successors, supreme and subordinate? according to their stations, and to submit to the awards and resolutions of your brethren in lodge convened in every case consistent with the constitutions of the order?
I do.
Do you agree to avoid private piques and quarrels and to guard against intemperance and excess?
I do.
Do you agree to be cautious in carriage and behavior, courteous to your brethren, and faithful to your lodge?
I do.
Do you promise to respect genuine brethren and to discountenance impostors and all dissenters from the original plan of Masonry?
I do.
Do you agree to promote the general good of society, to cultivate the social virtues, and to propagate the knowledge of the mystic art?
I do.
Do you promise to pay homage to the Grand Master for the time being, and to his officers when duly installed, and strictly to conform to every edict of the Grand Lodge that is not subversive to the principles and groundwork of Masonry?
I do.
Do you admit that it is not in the power of any man or body of men to make innovations in the body of Masonry?
I do.
Do you promise a regular attendance on the committees and communications of the Grand Lodge on receiving proper notice, and to pay attention to all the duties of Masonry on convenient occasions?
I do.
Do you admit that no new lodge shall be formed without permission of the Grand Lodge, and that no countenance be given to any irregular lodge, or to any person clandestinely initiated therein, being contrary to the ancient charges of the order?
I do.
Do you admit that no person can be regularly made a Mason in, or admitted a member of, any regular lodge without previous notice and due inquiry into his character?
I do.
Do you agree that no visitors shall be received into your lodge without due examination and producing proper vouchers of their having been initiated into a regular lodge?
I do.
These are the regulations of free and accepted Masons. Once again, I ask you, do you submit to these charges and promise to support these regulations as masters have done in all ages before you?
I do.
My brother, in consequence of your conformity to the charges and regulations of the order, you are now to be installed master of this lodge in full confidence of your care, skill, and capacity to govern the same. You will now be invested with the insignia of your office. I now place the furniture and implements of this lodge in your charge. The holy writings, that great light in masonry, will guide you to all truth. It will direct your path to the temple of happiness and point out to you the whole duty of a man. The square teaches us to regulate our actions by rule and line, and to harmonize our conduct by the principles of morality and virtue. The compass teaches us to limit our desires in every situation, that rising to eminence by merit, we may live respected and die regretted. The rule directs that we should punctually observe our duty, press forward in the path of virtue, and neither inclining to the right or the left, in all our actions have eternity in view. The line teaches us the criterion of moral rectitude, to avoid dissimulation in conversation and action, and to direct our steps to the path which leads to immortality. You already know the other. The Book of Constitutions you are to search at all times. Cause it to be read in your lodge, that none may pretend ignorance of the excellent precepts it enjoins. The charter, by authority in which this lodge is held, you are carefully to preserve, and in no case should it ever be out of your immediate control, and you should duly transmit it to your successor in office. The bylaws of your lodge you are to see carefully and punctually executed. You'll be conducted to the east, where you will take your seat in the Oriental chair. times 3, right over left, taking your cue from me. Yeah, you're next.
Worshipful Master, I present my worthy brother, Nick Guerin, to be installed as senior warden of this lodge.
My brother, you've been elected senior warden of this lodge and are now invested with the insignia of your office. The level demonstrates that we are descended from the same stock, partake of the same nature, and share the same hope. And though distinctions among men are necessary to preserve subordination, yet no eminence of station should make us forget that we are brethren. For he who is placed on the lowest spoke of fortune's wheel may be entitled to our regard. Because the time will come, and the wisest knows not how soon, when all distinctions, but that of goodness, should cease, and death, the grand leveler of human greatness, reduce us to the eternal state. Your regular attendance at our stated meetings is essentially necessary. In the absence of the master, you are to govern this lodge. In his presence, you are to assist him in the government of it. I firmly rely on your knowledge of masonry and attachment to the lodge for the faithful discharge of the duties of this important trust. Look well to the west, and thou now be conducted to your station.
Worshipful Master, I present my worthy brother, Richard Reedy, to be installed as junior warden of this lodge.
My brother, you've been elected junior warden of this lodge and are now invested with the badge of your office. The plumb admonishes us to walk uprightly in our several stations, to hold the scales of justice in equal poise, to observe the just medium between temperance and pleasure, and to make our passions and prejudices coincide with the line of our duty. To you is committed the superintendence of the craft during the hours of refreshment. It is therefore indispensably necessary that you should not only be temperate and discreet in your indulgence of your own inclinations, but carefully observe that none of the craft be suffered to convert the purposes of refreshment into intemperance and excess. Your regular and punctual attendance is particularly requested, and I have no doubt that you will faithfully execute the duties which you owe to your present position. Look well to the south. You'll now be conducted to your station. My brother, you've been elected treasurer of this lodge and are now invested in the badge of your office. It is your duty to receive all monies from the hands of the secretary, keep just and regular accounts of the same, and pay them out by the order of the worship master and the consent of the lodge. I trust your regard for the fraternity will prompt you to faithfully discharge all these duties of your office, and I'll be conducted to your place.
Worshipful Master, I present my worthy brother, Mike Shaver, to be installed as secretary of this lodge.
Worthy brother, you've been elected secretary of this lodge and are now invested with the badge of your office. It is your duty to observe all the proceedings of the lodge, make a fair record of all things proper to be written, receive all monies due to the lodge, and pay them over to the treasurer. Your good inclination to masonry in this lodge, I hope, will induce you to discharge the duties of your office with fidelity, and by doing so, you will merit the esteem and applause of your brethren. You may now be seated.
Worship Master, I present my worthy brother, Wayne Madden, to be installed as chaplain of this lodge.
My reverend brother, you are appointed chaplain of this lodge and are now invested with the badge of your office. It is your duty to perform those solemn services which we should constantly render to our infinite Creator, in which, when offered by one whose holy profession is to point to heaven and lead the way, may, by refining our souls, strengthening our virtues, and purifying our minds, prepare us for admission into the society of those above, whose happiness will be as endless as it is perfect. You may now be seated.
Worship Master, I present my worthy brothers, Al Luce and Johann Durham, to be installed as senior and junior deacons respectively.
Brethren, you are appointed deacons of this lodge and are now invested with the badge of your office. It is your province to attend on the master and wardens and to act as their proxies in the activities of the lodge, such as in the reception of candidates into the different degrees of masonry, the introduction and accommodation of visitors, and the immediate practice of our rites. The square and compasses as badges of your office I entrust to your care, not doubting your vigilance and attention. You can now be seated.
Worship Master, I present my worthy brethren, Rod Creamer and Noah Nutt, to be installed as senior and junior stewards, respectively.
My brethren, you are appointed the stewards of this lodge and are now invested with the badge of your office. You are to assist the deacons and other officers in performing their respective duties. Your regular and early attendance at our meetings will afford the best proof of your zeal and attachment to the lodge. You may now be seated. Master, would you please rise? Worship brother, having been chosen to preside over this lodge, you cannot be insensible to the obligations which devolve upon you. The honor, reputation, and usefulness of your lodge will materially depend upon the skill and ability with which you manage its concerns. As master of this lodge, it will be your special duty to attend to the administration of its ceremonies, preserve the ancient landmarks of the order now committed to your care, and permit no innovation in the principles or rites of the order. Upon all suitable occasions, remind the brethren that Masonry is founded upon the great moral principles set forth in the sacred volume, which we receive as the rule and guide of our faith and patience. Exhort them to govern themselves by these principles, as well as the world at large, as with each other. Teach them to revere the three great lights, comprehending the holy writings, the perfect square, and the extended compasses, the beautiful symbolism of which is familiar to you, and the explanations of which include some of the most important duties inculcated in our mystic circle. Be ever mindful that great care should be taken in the admission of members, lest by the introduction of bad materials the institution should become corrupted. It should be constantly borne in mind that the respectability and usefulness of this lodge does not consist in the number, but the character of its members. It is better that no workman be added to the roll than even one unworthy foot allowed to cross the threshold of the lodge. The uninitiated judge masonry by the conduct of its individual members. Therefore, you should be as careful of the reputation of your lodge as that of your own family. As you admit none to the society of the latter, whose character is bad, so should you carefully exclude such from the former. As it is the purpose of Freemasonry to create friendship, to make provision for the relief of poor and distressed brethren, to protect the widow and the orphan, to inculcate reverence for the grand architect of the universe, and to encourage the growth of the social virtues which dignify and adorn human nature, and render mankind peaceful and happy, the doors of the lodge should be sternly closed against the idle, the profligate, the intemperate, and licentious. If unfortunately unworthy members gain admission, it will be your duty to exercise proper discipline to correct abuses and restrain the refractory. Unruly members must be reduced to order. The first risings of vice must be suppressed, and when kind and affectionate admonitions fail, the unworthy should be removed as a blot upon the order. It is also your duty, and will no doubt be to your pleasure, to spread light and impart knowledge to the brethren of your lodge, to preserve the purity of the order and maintain unimpaired its ancient rites and ceremonies. They are to be frequently reminded of the duties they owe to Almighty God, the giver of every good and perfect gift. They must be taught to be good men and true, to be sober, industrious, charitable, upright in their dealings, friendly in their social intercourse, and to live in love and peace, having consciences void of offense and unspotted from the world. Thus taught and thus acting, they will convince mankind of the value of the institution, achieving happiness in doing so. Wardens, please rise. And I'll give the wardens their charge. Brothers senior and junior wardens, you are too well acquainted with the principles of Masonry to warrant any distrust that you will be found wanting in the discharge of your respective duties. Suffice it to say that what you have seen praiseworthy in others, you should carefully imitate, and what in them you may have appeared defective, you should in yourselves amend. You should be examples of good order and regularity, for it is only by due regard to the laws in your own conduct that you can expect obedience to them from others. You are assiduously to assist the master in the discharge of his trust, diffusing light and imparting knowledge to all whom he shall place under your care. In the absence of the master, you will succeed to higher duties. Your requirements must therefore be such that the craft may never suffer for want of proper instruction. From the spirit which you have hitherto evinced, I entertain no doubt that your future conduct will be such as to merit the applause of your brethren and the testimony of a good conscience. Finally, I charge the brethren of this lodge as follows. Such is the nature of our Constitution, that as some must of necessity rule and teach, so others must submit and obey. Humility in both is an essential duty. The officers who are appointed to govern your lodge are sufficiently conversant with the rules of propriety and the laws of the institution to avoid exceeding the powers with which they are entrusted. And you are of too generous dispositions to envy their preferment. I therefore trust that you will have but one aim, to please each other, and unite in the grand design of being happy and communicating happiness. Finally, my brethren, as this association has been formed and perfected in so much unanimity and concord, in which we greatly rejoice, so may it long continue. You may long enjoy every satisfaction and delight which a disinterested friendship can afford. May kindness and brotherly affection distinguish your conduct as men and Masons. Within your peaceful walls, may your children's children celebrate with joy and gratitude the annual recurrence of this auspicious solemnity. And may the tenets of our profession be transmitted through your lodge, pure and unimpaired, from generation to generation. Brother Marshall, you will now make the proclamation.
In the name of the most worshipful Grand Lodge of ancient pre-accepted Masons of Kansas, I proclaim the officers of Active Lodge number 153 duly installed.
Please rise for the benediction. The chaplain will now pronounce the benediction. That's you.
Most gracious Heavenly Father, Grand Architect of the Universe, we thank you for your presence with us tonight and for these officers that have been in the lodge. We would pray that you walk with them through each meeting to do their part to spread the good news of Freemasonry throughout the country. We ask that you please look after the master of this lodge, that he may lead these gentlemen in a form and a manner beholding to this community. All this we ask in his name. Amen.
So Lord, I be. First Master, I present you the lodge.
You know, for the 30 seconds I've stood here, it's a whole lot different than it is over there. A whole lot different. As my first order of business, Brother Senior Deacon, could you please escort my wife to the east? Just straight to her spine. For the last 11. Yeah. I'll talk about that in a minute. Thank you for everything you've done for this lodge. You've set as master for 3 years. You set as master of a Prince Hall Lodge and district deputy all in the same year. For the love of God, you're insane. But your love for the craft is unparalleled. Thank you. There's a past master's jewel, and if you'd like to open the bag,
It's my confidence.
it wasn't you.
Thank you very much.
I want to thank the members of Overland Park that came. That's not a lodge. It's where I was raised. It's where I was from. I joined Masonry, 8 years ago? And periodically was asked when I was going to run the chairs and when I was going to sit in the east. And I was adamantly, I want no part of that. That is not my thing. I am good where I'm at. Worshipful Jason had other plans for me. And when Right Worshipful Kevin and Doug heard about it, they cackled and walked off laughing. And told me that I was their brother and they were doing this and I had no choice. I've learned some things. And first being, I don't have a lot to say, but I've prepared something. And it is real all down. But that joke fell flat. That's okay. It'll be a long years of a lot of flat jokes.
You've learned the first rule of being a master. Your plans don't always go as planned.
There we go. That one didn't.
Or ever.
A lot of folks think that the master is the most important chair in the lodge. And it's not. Not by a long shot. Not taken away from the masters and the officers at all, because we need them. But they're here to keep the doors open. It is my belief, and the way that I was raised, and I posted this online, yesterday? That one of the most important chairs in the entire lodge is a brother that sits right about here. When a brand new candidate has walked into the door and he is welcomed into this family and he is made a brother, you can feel it in the air. He is the cornerstone and the foundation of what we do, and if we don't have him, we can't do what we do. And all of it's important. But the health of the lodge rests on him. And with that, the other thing I learned is there's no such thing as a perfect Mason. We're all rough ashes. I set out to prove that wrong, and I did. Right here. This is the only perfect Mason I was able to find. It says so, right here. All perfect Mason. The rest of us are still working on it because we're still here. One of the things that I would like to do, and this is strictly a volunteer thing throughout the brothers of this lodge for the year, this jar is going to sit on the corner of Mike's desk. And whenever someone feels the need, or feels that they would like to, nickel, dime, quarter, 5, 10, 20, whatever. And over the course of the year come Christmas. Because COVID's really messed with some folks this year, as we all know. I want to take what's left in this jar, and if we fill it more than once, great. And find someone in this town that could really use the hand up and provide Christmas for them and their family and their kids. That's what we're called to do. Faith, hope, and charity. So, with that, I'm going to shut up. If not, I'll talk all night. And this ain't Facebook. You can't mute me or unblock me. So, I'll keep my mouth quiet. Brother, do you have anything that you'd like to say? No? Never known you to be shy.
Worshipful Master,
Go.
in
see it open and active. Profound love in my heart to see you up there and installed. I look forward to the year because I do look forward to being a part of this lodge in the upcoming year. And I'd like to start that jar off if you don't mind.
Absolutely.
Here, I'll do this. Somebody else does it.
Worshipful Master, on behalf of Martha Washington Eastern Star, we'd like to welcome you into our family as becoming a new part of the East. Also, if you do not mind and you would like to leave the jar, see the time and the current worthy matron, I will make sure that the Eastern Star and the Masons that participate with us in the Eastern Star here help fill that jar to make this lodge's dreams come true.
Absolutely.
Worshipful Master, I'll congratulate you on making Master, and can't wait to see how the year goes.
Thank you, and congratulations to you, Worship.
Thank you.
First Master, I'd like to congratulate you on becoming Worship Master. The other officers of the lodge, congratulations on being installed. I know it's probably going to be different not having Worshipful Huff up there. But different is not always bad. Pardon me. I remember when you came into the fraternity.
I'm sorry.
Well, I have to take some responsibility for the kind of Mason you are now, but not all of it. I mentored you for the first few years fairly heavily. I know that you were never desirous of becoming master. Over time, you took studies on your own and became your own person in the fraternity, your own man. I've often said that those who seek to be leaders are the most worthy of being thus, or the least worthy of being thus. You have never sought leadership, but it has often been thrust upon you. And I've seen nothing but good things come from it. I expect nothing less this year, because I know in your heart you have nothing but love for this fraternity and for the brothers within. So, good luck this year.
Congratulations. More of anything? You got stuff. Just throwing it out there right now. It's definitely different sitting over here. I really enjoy it. So I'm here to help you out with whatever you need. And even though I'm out of that chair, I don't really feel like I'm going to be that much, because I'm sure you're going to be calling for quite a bit of things. And I'm here to answer your call whenever you need.
Thanks, Doug.
How's everyone doing this evening? My name is Kyle Cantu. I'm from Mount Washington, 614 in Independence, Missouri. I just want to say thank you all for having me this evening. It's my first time being in the Kansas Lodge. It's a beautiful lodge, I might say. I also want to say congratulations to you and all the brethren as well. And I hope you guys have a beautiful, successful year.
Worship Master, congratulations for your presence there in the East. I think of some of the greatest Masons that I know who are great Masons because they are great in the lodge as well as outside the lodge. I think you represent being a great Mason everywhere you go. And I'll congratulate you. And this lodge is very lucky to have you in the East.
I appreciate that. Thank you, Worship.
I congratulate you also, and looking forward to
would like to congratulate all of our officers that are coming up. Today is not just about raising a master to the east, but raising brothers to service. So this is about all of you, not just me by any stretch. With that, when everything's said and done, we're getting ready to end the public portion. Pictures will be available. I would like to take one with my lodge officers, with my Fremo brothers. If folks brought people with them that you'd like to take a picture with, please. We have a camera, we have folks ready to do that. The Bible in the center, there's a pin on the east side of the altar. Open that front cover, and on the inside cover, please sign your name. It's okay, the Lodge Bible's in the altar, that one's mine. Afterwards, if they're still open, we're gonna go grab a bite to eat over here around the corner. And folks are welcome to do that.
They close at 9.
They close at 9.
Yep, sorry.
Well, there's a McDonald's about 2 blocks away. We'll go get us a Big Mac and a chicken nugget. There we go. Yeah, if you'd like to take pictures of the lodge, please do. If you've not seen the room just off to my left, phenomenal. Absolutely beautiful.
Worshipful Master, she did say they closed at 9, it's 8:15.
You know what, if we're